you, Reese, from a little sweet home to the swamp here in Gainesville, Florida. It's ESPN College Football, presented by Vizio as part of the Jiffy Lube Rivalry Series. The Sunshine Showdown and the Florida Gators looking to play spoiler today and end Florida State's bid for a 36th consecutive bowl trip. And for the Noles, they have never won 5 in a row in this series. They have a chance to make some history today.
Boy, does this rivalry run deep. Bragging rights at home.
It's one of the great rivalries in college football, so it's the biggest game we have.
There's a lot of hatred there, but this rivalry does mean a lot.
Dalvin Cook, give him an inch, he can make a mile.
Kicked off by Prime Time.
It's 4 straight wins over Florida for the Noles.
Getting set for Florida and Florida State. Over the last 25 years, they've each won 3 national championships, but they both arrived today sporting losing records. As we welcome you to Gainesville, Beth Mowens, Anthony Becht. We've got Rocky Boyman down on the field with us today, and neither of these teams had the season they had hoped for, Anthony. And now as we get set for Florida to move into the offseason, they will not have Chip Kelly as their head coach moving forward. But you've been in these kinds of environments, these big games before, still plenty to play for.
Throw the records out the door, right? This is a rivalry game, and I've been in these games. These players have played against each other in high school. Some of them have been teammates. Some are even related in this game. It's going to be chippy. It's going to be physical. I don't like these personal fouls that could happen, but you know what? You might see a few in this game today.
Still plenty of bragging rights and certainly still a lot on the line when it comes to recruiting moving forward in a state that has suddenly got extremely competitive with the likes of UCF and USF and Lane Kiffin down at FAU. And Jimbo Fisher, who has had as much, if not more, success than any other head coach in this rivalry, trying to make it 5 straight. As the Noles kick it away, Darius Lemons with the nice return for Florida gets popped around the 35 and spun down at the 39. And an opportunity today, Anthony, for a couple of young quarterbacks to make a mark. And for Florida, that's Felipe Franks, who's from around the Tallahassee area.
Yeah, 6'5", he's a big kid, pure pocket passer. It's been a tough season for him, Beth. He's a young player, redshirt freshman, but he has a cannon for an arm. He has to see it and process it today. This passing game is very complicated, and he's got to be able to get the ball out of his hands quickly to be effective today.
Out of Crawfordville, Florida, and a lot of family and friends grew up Seminole followers. Now making his 8th start after being benched a couple of times this year. His first taste of this rivalry. And the handoff is right up the middle. Michael Pirine pushed out beyond the first down marker and even out across midfield. Our impact players for today, brought to you by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelers.
Yeah, Michael Pirine is going to be a stud in the run. He's going to get the ball. Brandon Powell on 3rd down is an important piece of this offense. On the outside, Brian Burns from Florida State and Mr. Everything. Find out where he's lined up if you're Florida, because he's a game record, Derwin James.
Redshirt sophomore out of Haines City, Florida. And it's back to Pirine, met in the backfield. And stood up there, Roderick Hoskins, the senior out of Orlando.
Running the ball today is going to be effective. It's got to be the game plan, Beth, for both of these teams. With young quarterbacks, they're asked to do a bunch. Expect Pirine and on the other side, Akers, to get the ball quite a bit to help this offense get off the ground.
Florida State fans making a little noise here on the road, much to the chagrin of the Gator followers. It's Pirine here in the pistol with Franks. Pressure coming off the edge, and the pass tipped at the line of scrimmage. It's going to be 3rd and long. That was Brian Burns. Let's check in with Rocky Boyman.
I was able to talk with Charles Kelly, the Florida State defensive coordinator, before the game. He's very concerned with the amount of looks, the amount of stuff, as he said, that Florida does offensively. You'll see perimeter passing game. Then they'll bring in multiple tight ends, move them around. You'll see unbalanced lines. So he really wants to get a hone in on what their theme, what their game plan is early on.
And they will show that 2 tight end look right here on 3rd and 10 with Goolsby and Lewis out there.
Watch that man on the move right there, number 4, Powell, a big third down weapon.
Frank's on the rollout, going to try and run for it, and he'll come up about a yard short. The reach might make it interesting, but call it a gain of 8, and it's 4th and short.
At this point in the season, Beth, take some chances. I would say, if you're Florida's offense, stay out on the field, 4th and 2.
And that's exactly what they're going to do. At least show here. Need to get it down inside the 40. They're 69% on the season.
I got to think they'll lean towards the heavy tight end side, which is the right side, top of your screen. Double tight end set.
They fake it that way, and then the throw behind Pirine is incomplete, and the Seminoles will take over. Guess who was coming? That was Derwin James with the pressure.
Better find him. He's everywhere on the field. He'll line up in the secondary at safety. He'll come up at the line of scrimmage, and he makes an impactful play on 4th down to get this Florida team off the field. Watch this, reading the quarterback, gets up, distorts the throwing angle of the quarterback, and he can't get it out accurately.
The thing that's impressive about Derwin James, I talked to Charles Kelly about this as well. He said he doesn't just know the what, he knows the why, and why we're supposed to line up, why they're blocking us this way. That enables them to move him around and play so many different spots.
So from one freshman quarterback to another, this is the true freshman, James Blackman out of Belle Glade, Florida, and his 10th start of the season. Keith Gavin busts his way out across the 45. So Blackman, who replaced the injured DeAndre Francois early in the season, goes 6'5", but only $169.
Yeah, he's a bit on the thin side, still growing, but he's got a big arm. Short-term memory, that's something Jimbo Fisher likes about this kid. When he makes mistakes, he shakes them off. Timing and accuracy. Can he get the ball out? Can he see it and deliver it on time? That's the biggest issue for the young quarterback.
And here is another first-timer in this rivalry, Cam Akers, the true freshman out of Clinton, Mississippi. Our impact players brought to you by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelers.
You'll see a lot of Akers today getting the ball. Mary's been the hot receiver, number 8. Taven Bryan, a lot of people in-house call him J.J. Watt. And then at the cornerback position, Duke Dawson will be a stud.
Akers is going to be a bit shy. That was C.C. Jefferson who got there and hauled him back by grabbing onto the football.
That's the strength, Beth, of this defense for Florida. And another 4th down. And again, whereas Florida decided to go for it, Jimbo going the other way. Going to punt this ball away.
Logan Tyler back to punt it away. And Chauncey Gardner appears to be the guy back to receive the punt. He'll let that go over his head and into the end zone for the touchback. 49 yards on that boot. Scoreless early. Gators ball when we return.
You're watching the Jiffy Lube Rivalry Series.
Werfel over the top for the touchdown. Florida 31, Florida State 3. Touchdown, Florida State. This game is over. A 31-31 tie.
That was the 1994 matchup, remembered by the Florida State fans as the choke at Doak. Ended in the 31-31 tie, one of the great games in Sunshine Showdown history. And it's back to Felipe Franks with LaMichael Pirine, the deep man in the eye. Franks back to throw, hit by Brian Burns, ball is out. Scooped up by Jacob Pugh and returned for a Florida State touchdown.
.6'5", Beth, 225 pounds, longer arms than anybody on the field. Look at the speed up the field. to get by the tackle. He dips under, great balance, straights it off the edge. He led the country with freshman sacks last year, and he makes a huge play to start this game for Florida State.
Scoop and score for Pugh, and a member of this senior class that is trying to stay perfect against Florida in their careers. Ricky Aguayo, the sophomore, on to attempt the extra point. Officials may be talking right now with the replay booth to just confirm that it was a fumble. No need for the review. Extra point is good. What a boost for a defense that has struggled all year to force turnovers. Just their 11th takeaway, and it counts for 6.
You get your sack artist on the outside making huge plays, and Johnny on the spot. You love to see the senior Pugh coming up big with the touchdown.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by Vizio as part of the Jiffy Lube Rivalry Series. A spectacular day here in the state of Florida. You're watching the SEC on ESPN, home of the Florida Gators, and they find themselves down early to Florida State on a scoop and score by the Seminole defense. Logan Tyler, the punter, also handles their kickoff duties. Darius Lemons back deep on the goal line for Florida. And it's headed in the direction of Brandon Powell. And Powell will be cut down short of the 20. How about a visit now to the studio with Adnan Burke? Adnan, some good early games going on, including Ohio State, Michigan. You got Purdue, Indiana for the Old Oaken Bucket also happening, as well as Georgia and Georgia Tech. Some of the other matchups. Felipe Franks under center, and they'll keep it on the ground here with LaMichael Pirine. A good push by the defense.
Yeah, they've coming out swinging, and really start with Brian Burns. Comes out early, tracks the football, deflects it down. Then he come out again, and you got your stud, Derwin James, getting in front of the quarterback, and Brian Burns again on the outside. His long arms, his strength and power, making a huge play for the score.
And Brian Burns wasn't really coming on in the season until late. Didn't have his first full sack until the Clemson game, but you can see his explosiveness, his get-off, incredible.
The direct snap there, guys, to Dre Massey, who hands it off to Brandon Powell and a gain of 5.
I'll be honest with you, Beth, and this goes for both teams. You got to run the football in this game. Don't put it on the backs and the shoulders of a redshirt freshman quarterback for Florida and a freshman quarterback at Florida State. They have very good running backs in the backfield. A lot of movement, too, at the offensive line position for both teams. Yeah. Establish the run early on.
Just going to say that. Some more changes today for Florida up front. Martez Ivey has moved from left tackle inside to guard on 3rd and 5. Franks wide open. Powell, first down across the 35. And it's 25 games in a row now with a catch for Brandon.
Angle route's going to go back out and come back inside, wide open. They bring a pressure on the opposite side, and nobody's home in the middle of the field. He's the 3rd down specialist, Beth. That's Frank's favorite target. Look for him to make multiple catches in those scenarios.
Brandon, highly motivated member of this senior class that has never tasted a victory against FSU. He picked up 15 there. Powell, Swain, and Cleveland are your trips right. Pirine gets a nice block to spring him into the secondary, and another good gainer of 8 behind Fred Johnson.
Just the sophomore, again, The workload has come on his shoulders. True freshman Malik Davis out for the season. They mixed it in. And you're right, Beth. Huge hole there to get through. You get some of that kind of blocking, get the confidence back, especially on the left side after the big sack. That'll help out an offensive lineman.
That's Jawan Taylor, by the way, now at left tackle, who's moved over from the other side as they show another 2 tight end set here. Perine on 2nd and short, and it's going to be 3rd and short. Stuffed at the line. Knowles are going to try and stuff up the middle here with Derek Nottie, and now DeMarcus Christmas back out there as interim head coach Randy Shannon looks on. 1-2 as the interim. He's been a part of matchups against Florida State throughout his career as a player and a coach at Miami. Perine bounces to the outside for the first down into Seminole territory. As a player at Miami, was 4-0 against Florida State, and then his coaching mark as an assistant, as a head coach, and add to that the last couple of years here at Florida as an assistant and defensive coordinator.
A humble guy. He didn't talk too much about the undefeated record as a player, but he's been in plenty of these rivalry games, and obviously easy for him to talk to these players and get them up for this challenge.
On first down, Franks had trouble with the snap that was high, and he's going to get run out of bounds, losing a few by Matthew Thomas, the leading tackler this year for FSU.
And again, Beth, that's a learning play right there. The quarterback has a mishandle because of the poor snap. He runs left. He's got time to throw the ball out of bounds. He loses 3 yards there where he could have threw the ball out of bounds and got himself in a situation where they get back to the line of scrimmage.
Hitting on about 56% of his throws this year, 7 touchdowns and 5 interceptions. The numbers for Felipe. Split time early with Luke Del Rio and then late with Malik Zaire. Neither one of those guys available today. Going to use Powell out of the backfield. Makes the first man miss and back to the original line of scrimmage. Another tackle for Derwin James.
I really like Powell as a player. I think coming into this season, Doug Nussmeier, the offensive coordinator, really tried to get this pro element, pro-style offense going. And to me, I felt like it took away from the strengths of some of these receivers on this football team. They're space guys. Get them the ball in space, let them make plays, and that's a lot easier than having a quarterback in the range trying to find some of these routes open up in this system.
Mark Thompson now in the backfield. Of course, Malik Davis, one of their emerging stars, out after getting hurt in their Georgia game. This is Franks trying to buy some more time, and he'll just make sure it clears the line of scrimmage out of bounds. Incomplete, and it's 4th down. That was Cyrus Fagan giving chase.
Tried to find Powell again. It's the second time they ran this 3rd down play, Beth. 2 series ago, they tried to get Powell on a fake wheel route and bring him back at the sticks. Both times not open. Good job by Florida State's defense at getting off the field in 3rd and long.
DJ Matthews, freshman, is back deep. Johnny Townsend, one of the top punters in the country, to boot it away. Senior out of Orlando. Too much on that one. And the touchback. 7-0. Florida State scoring with their defense. Now it's Blackman in the O, back out.
ESPN College Football is presented by Vizio, maker of award-winning 4K displays, and in part by Buick, proud partner of the NCAA.
Nice senior day moment pregame for the Gators, including Luke Del Rio. His last appearance here, he's going to pass on his 6th year of eligibility. The one veteran quarterback they had early in the season that got injured, and of course that's a big story for Florida State as well. The injured quarterback DeAndre Francois, who went out in the season opening loss against Alabama, and that kind of set the tone for what's happened to the Noles at 4-6 coming in. Have to win today, have to win against Louisiana Monroe next week. to get into a bowl and keep the streak alive, 36 in a row it would be. And Rocky, you had a chance to talk with DeAndre earlier.
I did. He said his recovery is going very well. Main thing they're working on right now is the range of motion, squeezing that knee back down. He said he'll lose the brace here probably next week. And he laughed and said it won't be long before Vic Valoria, the strength coach, has me running until I can't breathe.
Yeah, they've been going with freshmen at quarterback and tailback for about a month or so now. Cam Akers joining Blackman, and he'll heave it downfield, and after a big hit to jar it loose, Gardner knocked it away from Naquan Murray.
Gardner's good for that. He's a big-time hitter. The ball has a little too much trajectory on it. Murray was wide open. He puts a little steam on this throw. It puts it right into his hands. He's got a big gain. Unfortunately, the air on it allowed the defender to make that big shot, knock it away.
The jarring hit by Gardner, and it's 3rd and 7. Downfield, bobbled, knocked around, and intercepted. Picked off at the 25-yard line. Duke Dawson got it. Think it goes off the foot of Auden Tate, the receiver.
Oh, Marco Wilson, number 3, he's on the tight coverage. On Tate, comes up and jams Tate as he's trying to bring the ball down. Tate kicks it up. Duke Dawson catches it. And the senior making a big play. 2 seniors now, Beth. One for Florida State, Pugh, and now Duke Dawson making big plays on defense to help this team.
Terrific coverage by the true freshman Marco Wilson, the younger brother of Quincy Wilson, who moved on to the NFL after last year. And Dawson now setting up Florida with the short field. Franks will hand it off. Thompson picks up 4 or 5 before he's run out of bounds. Martez Ivy was leading the way, the junior out of Apopka, Florida.
Thompson, the 5th-year senior, 240 pounds. He brings in a nice changeup. Both of these guys had nice games, him and Pirine last week, along with Lemons. Expect 24 to be that red zone guy to get some of that forceful run downhill.
Last 9 games or so, they've been running it better. By committee, they've only had 1 guy all year with a 100-yard rush game. 34 yards so far on the ground for Florida. They'll get some more here. The burst by Thompson. First down to the 10.
I'll tell you what, I love this bunch setup. The tight ends here making some key blocks. You got Lewis, number 80, out in front. You got number 30, Goolsby. These guys are getting it done. They're smaller body guys. They catch a lot of balls. At least that's the type of style they are. But they get their nose and stick it in the fan and make big plays for this run game.
Randy Shannon
timeout, Florida.
Timeout.
The first time out of the half.
And he'll get it. 4:07 to go. Florida trying to cash in a turnover and tie it up. Later today on ESPN, we've got a good matchup for you with Oklahoma and West Virginia. Right now, the Sooners are in the playoff at number 4. Can they stay there? Clemson's also in right now, ranked number 3. They've got their rivalry matchup, the Palmetto Bowl with South Carolina. Those matchups coming your way later today on the ESPN networks. First and goal, Florida, off of the turnover. Big hole for Thompson. Touchdown, Gators. Massive hole off the right side, and Anthony's got some tight end love to give. Does he cross the goal line before he drops the football?
Yeah, he's in.
With Lewis and Goolsby helping out, Eddie Pineda will try and tie it up. Just 52 seconds and 24 yards after the interception. Even at 7. Adnan, what you got for us? Oh, it's been so fun to watch those Florida running backs, Chubb and Sony Michel, over the years, and Michigan with the early lead over Ohio State. Anthony, let's get a breakdown for you on the run game.
I was talking about bunch. You got 2 tight ends, Goolsby, and you also have Lewis. They're going to double team and get this linebacker block. Watch how this thing opens up. Tight end blocks down, get up on the second level. Even the receivers getting on the action. Swain on the outside. I love it. Tough running in between the tackles, over the big boys, the tight ends.
And on that touchdown run, Anthony, they had Derwin James coming off the edge, as they have often today. I think he's one of your best tacklers with the way Florida's run the ball. Get him off the edge, move him back at the second level where he can help stop that run game.
I think you're right. You talked about it. They move him around quite a bit. He's a guy for sure, and now they got him, speaking of moving him around, returning kickoffs.
Losing records, forget about it. This still means something to guys like Derwin James, and he'll bring it out to the 29-yard line. Let's take a look at this week's college football playoff rankings, brought to you by Capital One. The big news so far, the loss by the Miami Hurricanes at Pittsburgh yesterday.
You know what? Alabama, Auburn, Clemson, South Carolina. These are 2 games that are going to be spectacular. I think these are good matchups. They're going to go down to the wire. And this will be show a little bit on going on the road, right? Big-time teams and schools have to win on the road. Bama and Clemson going to get that chance today.
And congratulations to the Knights of Central Florida. UCF finishes out the regular season undefeated. And the Scott Frost watch is now underway here in Gainesville as well as in Lincoln, Nebraska. Patrick met in the backfield. Scott Frost, of course, the former quarterback at Nebraska. There's been rumors that he might be coming here to Florida. Rumors that the pull and the allure to go back home would be too much to say no to.
Well, you know, you're going for trying to get Chip Kelly. The logical next choice is someone that coached under him in Scott Frost. I'm not quite sure they can pull that off. And if he's not the guy, who is it, Beth? Then you got to go offense. You got to find someone in here that can juice up this offense and get it a spark. Tough decisions to be made for Florida.
They had hopes that Jim McElwain could bring the offense with him, and that wasn't the case. Back shoulder and a good catch by Auden Tate for the first down.
It was a fantastic job by the Florida State offensive line, cutting down those defensive linemen. They had a hard time protecting this year. This time they go right at the knees of those big boys up front for Florida, and a nice perfect window there for Blackman.
Well, that's a tough catch for Tate, 6'5", but you know what makes it easy? The high point ability, getting the ball up in the air so that 6'5" receiver can go up and get it.
Izzo, the tight end, in motion. Patrick will run behind him. Cut down at the line of scrimmage. David Reese, the middle linebacker, the leading tackler this year with the stop and a loss of 1.
You know, Beth, I'm just watching as that play develops. It's so physical at the line of scrimmage. Guys are flying around. I mean, you can tell the energy of both of these teams are high.
We only saw Cam Akers on that first possession. It's been Patrick since. Blackman fakes it to him, trying to drop it over the top, and he had Tate but couldn't connect. 3rd down.
I'll tell you what, guys, if you were on this sideline, you just closed your eyes, you'd know there's a big-time rivalry football game going on just by the sound of these pads cracking.
And there was a big opportunity there, Beth. Again, the young quarterback, it's a touch pass. Wide open, the defender's in front of him, but he just got to drop it in there. Those are things he'll get better at, but these are the things, when you're young, hard to accomplish.
Blackman with his first taste of this rivalry, the true freshman, looking at 3rd and 11. against the four-man pressure, and a whistle and a false start.
Prior to the snap, false start. Offense number 76. 5-yard penalty. Still third down.
You see Jimbo, he's saying snap the ball. Blackman's out there clapping his hands. The ball's not coming out. Linemen get antsy, Beth. They want to move. They want to go. They start hearing a clap. They think it's going to get snapped. Not good communication there by center and quarterback.
Jimbo, by the way, 6-1 in this rivalry. He's 3-0 coming here to the Swamp with the Seminoles. Gators with four guys coming again, led by Taven Bryan. The screen to Patrick. Nowhere to go. Busted up by Voshawn Joseph, and it's fourth down.
A lot of young players on this defense for Florida. Whoever that new coach may be, he's going to step into some very good active players. It's getting chippy, Beth.
Yeah.
Some action after. We talked about it in the open, both of these teams.
Flag about 30 yards downfield in the secondary with a bit of a scrum. Matt Austin, our referee today.
Following the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 7 in the defense. Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 5 in the offense. Those penalties offset. Fourth down. That is the first unsportsmanlike conduct penalty for each player.
Well, no yardage damage, Anthony, but let's keep in mind now for the rest of the game, Erman Lane and Duke Dawson cannot pick up another personal foul penalty.
Well, listen, there's no room for personal fouls, but I did say they're going to show up today in the game. We might need a tracker on this kind of rivalry, and the juice is going. A lot of activity. These kids got to keep their cool so they don't put their team in a bad position with a big foul.
Tyler is back to punt. Gotcha. This one's short, and it will take a fortuitous bounce for the Seminoles down inside the 10-yard line. A 60-yard punt, aided by the action on the end. Well, the series, the Gators with the lead thanks to tremendous success in the early years. And then things changed with the arrival of Bobby Bowden. How about that stretch through 10 years? Both were in the top 10 when they met. It's been a lot of Florida State lately, and this is the first time since 1959 that both come in with losing records. But again, for the Seminoles, you've got streaks of 40 years in a row without a losing season. You've got a streak of 35 straight years going to a bowl. They have to win today and next week to keep those streaks alive. And wouldn't the Florida faithful love to spoil all that with the upset today? Pirine will run out of the pistol and stood right up at the line of scrimmage. Matthew Thomas, the first to greet him.
It's about 5 or 6 plays now, Beth. You've seen this bunch set. And if you get positive yards out of the bunch, now you can do multiple things out of that. You can wrap around and go weak. You can pass off it there. They tried to wrap around and go back to the right away from the bunch. And good job by Florida State of stuffing that up.
7 carries for Pirine. 4 of those he didn't get a yard or he lost yardage on. Out of the empty set, Franks leaping at the 10-yard line, upended, and down he goes at the 12, and a gain of 6.
Be careful. Easy now. If the sticks were right there, I get it, but I understand he's trying to get as many yards as possible. It's a dangerous situation. And you saw an empty set there, Beth. When you're a quarterback and you have empty, you got to make a quick decision and make it right. If it's not there, you can't hold the ball. Fortunately for them, they're able to get some positive yards with the QB moving up the field. Not to mention your backup quarterback today is a starting wide receiver, Dre Massey. 3rd and 5. Intercepted. Another ricochet pickoff at the 20-yard line. Second takeaway for the Gator defense.
first quarter has come to an end.
Talked about accuracy, Beth. Puts it way too out front. The receiver knocks off the defender's helmet, and Johnny on the spot with the interception. That's Taylor, number 1 for Florida State, making a big play to close out this quarter.
Tied at 7, but the Seminoles threatening as we get set for the second quarter. All even in the Swamp. Levante Taylor with the interception, setting up Florida State in the red zone. They've already got a scoop and score touchdown today. Cam Akers returns at tailback. And Cam tripped up behind the line. Let's go back to the interception. Actually going to be a noggin knocker here for Stanford Samuels, the DB.
Yeah, throwing an inside route. It goes through the hands of Powell. That's a tight throw. Goes off the helmet of Samuels, and Johnny on the spot again. Two plays. And when you don't get that many turnovers this season, Beth, you carry them off the field.
Little escort service there.
Defensive line appreciating the turnovers.
Yeah, just 10 takeaways through their first 10 games, now a couple today, and we've got an injured Gator. It's Voshawn Joseph, the starting outside linebacker. We'll take a quick timeout and come right back. Voshawn Joseph coming off the field after the injury.
He's right here on the ground. Looks to be okay going for the football. And then several players kind of crunch him together for Florida State.
He'll be replaced by Kylan Joseph, who returns to the lineup. He's been hurt throughout the campaign. Blackman trying to go over the top, and Duke Dawson had the coverage on Auden Tate. Going to be third down.
Trying to get the ball to the big 6'5" receiver. Again, you got a catch radius. Your quarterback doesn't have to be very accurate with the ball. You get it in that area. Nice coverage. That's a matchup right now. Duke Dawson, number 7, versus Auden Tate.
Tell you what, down here you really notice how well the Florida defensive line is controlling the line of scrimmage. Florida State can't do anything running the ball, and now they're getting ready to pin their ears back and rush the quarterback.
Just 4 yards rushing in this first half. Blackman to the air on 3rd and long, into the end zone, touchdown Florida State. Nyquan Murray at a 21-yard strike.
Blackman showing a little bit of that arm strength, Beth. I'll tell you, when he gets it good. Huge play by him. It's a skinny post. He'll pull the safety to the right, come back to Murray, perfect timing. Look at the distance between safety and receiver. It's an excellent job. Well played.
Couple of scores off of turnovers for Florida State.
Potential targeting here. I believe they're going to check that out. We'll go back and look at it. Murray with the nice catch coming at him. You know, I don't know. You know, Murray kind of protects himself by coming down.
This appears
right there, and he hits him with his shoulder. I don't think
he'd have to strike the shoulder pads, though. Again, if this is a blow to the neck or head area, no, I think he got the shoulder first.
I think it's a good job.
That's Chauncey Gardner.
By Gardner. He's a big hitter. You saw it earlier in the game. And that's a good job by Murray, the concentration.
After review, there was no targeting on the play. Touchdown.
Good job by the officials on that. He's 21-yard touchdown. Sorry, Anthony. Blackman to Nyquan Murray.
He's been the hot receiver the last couple of weeks, Beth. He's been the target. He had a touchdown last week. Tack another one on now. Aguayo
on for the extra. Set a Florida State record last year in their win against Delaware State hit 11 points after. They scored 11 touchdowns. (14-7). Seminoles on top here in the first half.
Love seeing the development of the young quarterback, pulling the safety, throwing a dagger in between two defenders. And he is one fired up camper. Touchdown, Florida State.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Jiffy Lube, proudly pouring Pennzoil Synthetics, and Ford, going further so you can.
Tailgating Christmas, a little Star Wars The Last Jedi reference, opening in theaters December 15th. And of course, the Sunshine Showdown, Gators and Seminoles. Florida trying to end a 4-game losing streak in this rivalry. All 21 points so far in the first half have come off of turnovers. Darius Lemons will bring it out. Met at the 20. Let's see what's happening around the country. Adnan?
Lemons returns out to the 20. He's brought down by Jacob Hughes. First and 10.
Anxiously awaiting the review from the cinephile. Thank you, Adnan. Touchdown lead for FSU. Got Michigan leading Ohio State. The old Oaken bucket. They're even in that one. And now another score for Michigan to go up by 2 touchdowns on the Buckeyes, who are getting ready to face Wisconsin in the Big Ten championship game next weekend. Probably a lot of college football fans that wouldn't mind a little chaos around the country in the next 8 days. And a first down for Florida to Josh Hammond. Of course, we've already seen Miami lose this weekend. Still got Auburn and Alabama coming up later. Undefeated Wisconsin coming up later. And right after us, Oklahoma and West Virginia. Baker Mayfield, of course, will not get the start at quarterback for the Sooners. Franks even it downfield and overthrowing everybody. Josh Hammond was covered by Levante Taylor.
Hammond stops on this route, and I like these plays. The quick pass to the outside, Beth, to open up. Then you get Felipe on the move where he's got levels, multiple players in front of his eyes. These help young quarterbacks be successful. But again, good coverage on the back end by Florida State.
Pirine behind Franks on 2nd and 10. LaMichael cuts it back for a short gain. Just over 60 yards on the ground for Florida here in the first half. Frederick Jones had the stop, and it's 3rd and 8.
This will be big here. Let's not forget Felipe Franks' top target on 3rd downs. There's number 4, Brandon Powell. He's in the slot. He does his best work in space. Matched up by Fagan, number 24.
Pressure coming off the edge. Franks trying to find a way out, and down he goes. Back at the 26-yard line, Stanford Samuels.
Safety, nickel corner, coming off the edge. Now listen, you got a snap count here. You're able to see this pre-snap as a quarterback. You've got to have a plan here. He doesn't have that, and they're able to find a way to get to the quarterback. That's a good job by Charles Kelly, drumming something up, confusing the young quarterback.
2nd sack for Florida, loss of 8. Townsend gets it away. This is DJ Matthews. 1 yard on the return. Well, of course, they're searching for a new head coach here at Florida. What do the fans think? We had a chance to ask them about it pregame.
The next head coach for Florida should be Scott Frost.
I think Chip Kelly should.
Kerwin Bell.
Chip Kelly needs to be a head coach.
Steve Spurrier.
I have no earthly idea.
Coach Charlie Strong.
Timmy Tebow. It better be Chip Kelly or it's a bust.
Charlie Strong.
I think we should bring Urban Meyer back. He has a proven track record, and when he was here, we went to the national championship twice. So bring him back. Go Gators.
Steve Spurrier. All right.
Good stuff from the fan base here in Gainesville. This is Murray trying to create. Thrown out of bounds around the 39-yard line. Well, we can already cross off Chip Kelly. He took the UCLA job just prior to kickoff today.
Apparently it's boom or bust to one of those fans if it's not Kelly. But listen, I'm not quite sold on Scott Frost coming here. It makes sense. I know Florida's going to try to make that push to get him. That's the next logical step. I think, next week we'll have an American Conference championship game with Scott Frost and Norvell at Memphis. Yeah. He's a very good coach, offensive-minded guy. Maybe his name becomes part of the mix if they can't get those first two guys.
Blackman on the rollout to his tight end, Ryan Izzo. Down to the 32-yard line and a flag on the play.
Offside, defense number 98, penalties decline, play results in a first down.
So the play will stand.
It's a nice play design. Full action to the right here, sell it hard, and then slip the front side tight end into the seam. Wide open, Blackman's just got to put it on him. It's a nice catch by Izzo, who's become more of a target for this Florida State offense.
29 yards on the hookup with the junior out of Highland Lakes, New Jersey. Making his 35th career start today. He goes in motion to the left. They run that way. Patrick, big opening, lumbering down inside the 20 to move the chains and 14 more.
You go catch a football as a tight end. You know what you got to do? You got to come back and make a block. Izzo, number 81, watch right in front of your screen. Jack up the defensive end. That's a nice physical job. Getting on, I believe that's C.C. Jefferson on the outside, number 96, one of their best defensive players. I love tight ends. Getting busy today on both sides of the football bet for both teams.
Patrick follows his fullback Vickers, actually ran into him and then stumbles forward for 4 more. Joseph has returned to the defense for Florida. He gets the stop.
I like the addition going to Jacquez Patrick. Patrick is 6'3", 234 pounds, so a bigger body, maybe versus some of these bigger defensive linemen for Florida. Also noticing we're keeping the runs on the front side versus cutting back where that Florida speed can chase them down.
And Akers, only with 4 yards, Beth, in this game. Normally an explosive back that can make huge plays.
Now some movement pre-snap.
False start, snap infraction, offense number 54, 5-yard penalty, still second down.
Against the center, Alec Eberle. Some of the matchups to come later on. Undefeated Wisconsin, Oklahoma, the number 4 team in the rankings, Clemson number 3, and what a running back showdown out at Stanford tonight. Bryce Love and Josh Adams, Cardinal and Fighting Irish. Patrick, gaping hole up the middle. 1 man to get by and hauled down at the 3-yard line by Gardner.
That was a quick hitter. Nice acceleration by Patrick, man. Getting down hard, hill hard. 33 rushes now. Lil Gimpy may need a break here on that tackle. Carrying Florida defenders.
For a line that's had some issues, Anthony, this year, they are opening up some space today. That was Cole Minshew off that right side as Akers comes back in. after the 16-yard gain for Patrick. Blackman stumbling and gets the ball to Akers, and C.C. Jefferson wraps him up for the loss.
It seems like every time Akers gets the ball, he loses yards. He can't get any blocking for him. Jefferson off the edge here on the backside. I think the tight end's supposed to come down and cut that defensive end off. All the other linemen went down hard right. Tight end blocks out, leaves a man wide open.
4 carries for just 1 yard today for Akers. 2nd and goal.
6'5" on the bottom. You have Tate.
Blackman will hand it off again. Akers denied. Again, C.C. Jefferson with the tackle, and it's 3rd down.
Yeah, C.C. Jefferson, he got blocked on that big run earlier. Now he's come back strong. He obviously is not a happy camper, making 2 plays consecutively. It's a nice job. Third and goal in this situation. What will Florida State dial up with the trip set at the bottom of the screen?
Trying to fix up Patrick over there on the sideline. Akers will stay in there. Blackman back of the end zone, incomplete, 4th down. Intended for Keith Gavin, and Aguayo will come on.
I thought he might have been able to punch it into the tight end right there on the goal line. Decides to go the top receiver and really has to throw it away, Beth. It's unfortunate. Here's tight ends right here. As soon as he turns around, he's got a sticks route, stop route right at the goal line. That ball comes out on time and hits him on the outside. That might be a touchdown.
Ricky Aguayo's first field goal attempt in 2.5 games. This one from 25 yards. And it's good. 10-point advantage for the Seminoles on the road. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. And we welcome you back to ESPN College Football, presented by Vizio as part of the Jiffy Lube Rivalry Series. Florida State trying to make it 5 straight over the Florida Gators. And Jimbo Fisher looking to go 4-0 here at the Swamp. They've got the 10-point lead in the first half. Beth Mullins, Anthony Beck, Rocky Boyman with you on a spectacular Sunsplash day in Gainesville. Lemons out of his own end zone. Gets to the outside. And a hit is made by Logan Tyler, the kicker. How about an update from Ohio State and Michigan, Adnan?
Rivalry week.
Like the show, we could use a little swag, Adnan, if you think about it. But, yeah, big-time rivalries going on all weekend long. Mark Thompson in at tailback. Florida, 85 total yards of offense with a couple of turnovers so far in the first half. And Thompson wrapped up behind the line. Roderick Hoskins. So far for this Florida State defense, a scoop and score for Jacob Pugh, and then an interception for Levante Taylor set up another score. We've been talking a little bit about the Florida coaching situation. It seems like, Anthony, every time around this time of year, there's talk about Jimbo Fisher and whether or not he would move on. Of course, he says he loves it at Florida State. You've got a great fan base, a great recruiting base, great weather, a lot of things in their favor. Both sides have struggled through losing seasons so far. So there's always going to be some frustration. There's always going to be some chatter.
I'll tell you, there's only a couple factors that would pull me away. I mean, the guy's averaged 11 wins a year since he's been here outside of this year. I mean, you either back the Brink truck up and show him all that money, because that's what it's going to take, right? I think, if there's rumors swirling around. I mean, wherever that may be, money sometimes talks, but maybe you need a change of scenery. Who knows? But there's a lot to like about Florida State.
Florida State would be crazy to let Jimbo Fisher go. Maybe he needs to make a few tweaks to his staff here and there, but he's an excellent coach. His record is there. I think they'd be nuts to let him go.
On 3rd down and 13. Getting after Felipe Franks again. Incomplete, out of bounds, and it's 4th down. Keep in mind, too, 8 years of Jimbo Fisher. Only Nick Saban and Dabo Swinney have more wins around the country than Fisher has at FSU.
I mean, he's a stud. I mean, they're not going to let him go. I mean, it's just who else wants him? That's the thing. I mean, he's an offensive-minded guy. He's built a program here. Coordinator plus head coaching responsibilities. He gets a tremendous amount of great recruits that come here. I mean, heck, they got about 7 guys on defense that are all going to play on Sundays to start. So it's really about how do other schools persuade him to leave. And I just don't know if that's really something he should look at outside of the fact that they might pay him a lot of money.
UCLA picked up Chip Kelly today. Nebraska fired Mike Riley today. A lot of openings around the Southeastern Conference. There's been some speculation, even possibly Texas A&M later tonight. How about the coaching carousel and some projections we can put in on the top level there? Chip Kelly. You guys like Mike Norvell or Scott Frost here?
Yeah, I like Norvell. I think he's the guy, the offensive-minded guy. I don't think they're going to get Frost. Obviously lost Kelly.
Yeah, I think for Scott Frost, if I look at it, I see a young coach, knows the state of Florida, maybe a little bit inexperienced, but if you're talking about winning a championship, and Scott Frost is, what, 42 years old, I think of all the schools left, talent-wise, pedigree, Florida is the place where you can win your championship the quickest.
They've got 3 of them, most recently in 2008. Blackman hit as he fires it into the crowd. That was Vashawn Joseph. Let's get back to those coaching possibilities. Tennessee is an intriguing one. Rocky going back to the old days of David Cutcliffe as the OC.
I think it would make a ton of sense. I know he's 63 years old, but he may look at it and say, look, one last job, one last big moment in the sun here. I think the key for Cutcliffe, what people I've talked to, is they need to allow him to bring his own staff on. I think in the past, Tennessee's tried to tell him who they want here, or the coordinator, this and that. Bring him on. He has the pedigree. He can make it happen for him.
This is Cam Akers finally finding some space out across the 50. Nebraska's intriguing. Of course, Scott Frost is still in play.
Well, I got to disagree. I like Clawson for Tennessee, a proven winner everywhere he's going. He's doing a heck of a job. But I like Scott Frost in Nebraska. We talk about him coming to Florida, and it does make a lot of sense because he learned under Chip Kelly. But to me, those pressures of going back, he won a national championship in Nebraska. They're going to try to do whatever they can and give him those resources if they decide to go that route.
Does Matt Luke get to keep the job, the interim at Ole Miss, after the big Egg Bowl win? They finish up 6-6, but their self-imposed ban, they won't be going bowling. And would Charlie Strong leave USF that quickly? 3rd and 3 here for the Seminoles. Dropped, intended for Ryan Izzo, and it's 4th down. And how about the new opening at Arkansas? Brett Bielema fired. Is Lane Kiffin coming back?
Well, I like Lane. I mean, eventually he's going to get a head coaching job. Why not give him one there? Get some eyeballs there at Arkansas. I haven't had that in a while, and I know, Rocky, you like Schiano over that side.
Yeah, Schiano, he obviously did well when he was the head coach at Rutgers and really turned that program around. Actually, with the way they're losing right now, though, his name may fall a little bit. But you talk about a tough guy, a grinder, a big old, just a solid ball coach. I think he'd do well there.
Schiano, the DC now at Ohio State. They're losing to Michigan 14-0. This punt takes a high hop. The Gators will get away from it, and it's down at the 15. Back with more from Gainesville and a 10-point FSU lead. Whoa, what happens if Ohio State keeps winning and maybe Auburn loses in the Iron Bowl? Can they leap over? Can they become the 2-loss team? Still got to take care of business with Michigan today. As the Florida offense heads back out, Anthony. 7 possessions so far in the half, just 82 yards of offense. And a couple of turnovers that Florida State has scored off of. Franks gives to Pirine. It's also the time of the year where you start looking forward. You've got a redshirt freshman quarterback. You've got a sophomore running back in Pirine. They'll get their other star running back, Malik Davis, back next year. They're bringing in a top 10 recruiting class, including one of the best quarterbacks, Matt Corral, next year.
They need a coach. You know what? Put all those pieces together, you could turn it around quite a bit. I mean, you see the class rank right now, they're still there. I mean, you're top 10 in the country. That's strong.
You're competing not only with the Seminoles, but now with Miami again. They're right back in the championship chase, despite their loss. Intercepted! Taylor with his second of the day, and a pick 6 for the Seminoles.
Florida State touchdown.
Takeaways all year for FSU. They've got 3 in the first half.
I mean, look, he's indecisive. It's a quick rally. It's either waiting for a receiver to get open or there's no one there. I mean, to me, there's nothing there. Throw the ball away. They're just sitting on it. Number 1, Taylor, just jumps right in front, watches him the whole time as he's pumping through a 3-step quick route.
21 points off of turnovers for Florida State. Aguayo with the extra point. 24-7, 3:46 to go in the first half. Allstate is proud to be a part of the team that comes together to do good by contributing to participating universities' general scholarship funds for each field goal and extra point kicked. To date, Allstate has contributed millions in scholarship funds. Rocky?
Yeah, down here, the Florida State Seminoles defense, they have the defensive game board, the takeaway board. Now, that board didn't get much use during the first part of the season, but today there's about 3 or 4, maybe even 5 names signing that thing. They're creating some havoc today.
They only had 10 takeaways, Beth, coming into this football game.
6 interceptions, that's it. 2 picks today. You get your signature up on there.
That's good stuff right there. It's a clean board coming into the game, that's for sure.
Levante Taylor with 2 interceptions and pick 6. A scoop and score for Jacob Pugh off of the hit by Brian Burns. And it's now 28 of the 31 points total in the game.
That's good stuff. 3 and outs, punts. A lot of life on one side, Beth. Can Florida regain some energy and get the ball rolling?
Logan Tyler's kick's going to be short. Powell with a chance. Out across the 25. How about an update from Adnan Vert?
Love his jacket too.
Oh.
Working it well today.
What a good day for me, huh? Working with Anthony and Rocky. Get to hear from Adnan and Joey and Jesse in the studio. We got a massive rivalry with Florida State and Florida. Our whole crew excited to be with you on this Saturday. Gators have some work to do, as Florida State's also going to receive the opening kick of the second half as Thompson motors out to the 40. Well, later today on ESPN2, top 4 teams looking to avoid upsets and stay in the college football playoff race. It's Oklahoma and West Virginia coming up next, followed by Clemson and South Carolina. Both games are also available on the ESPN app. Think either of them are going to get Miami'd? How are they going to roll?
Well, you know, Miami played an unranked Pitt. These guys are playing some studs. I would say, you know, Clemson is by far the better team. I do want to see them go on the road and have a big win. That's important. I think that's going to be huge for their development heading into the opportunity to play in the ACC championship and then further into college football playoff.
They both know they have another game coming up. Clemson will be in the ACC championship against Miami, and Oklahoma will be in the Big 12 title game next weekend against TCU.
But if Clemson were to lose, that would take out and eliminate the ACC from consideration, in my opinion.
Even if Miami beat Clemson next week?
If Clemson lost this week against South Carolina, I don't think that's a good enough win for Miami now to push them up where they need to be.
Brian Burns got a big paw on it. Rocky?
The other thing for me is this time of season when you're talking playoffs and that sort of thing, when it gets down to crunch time, it's about the quarterback. And for me, Kelly Bryant has gone the opposite way. The inability for him to get the ball downfield. I know he's a great runner, and that's a big part of their game, but the passing, especially the deep passing for Kelly Bryant and Clemson, not there right now.
Yeah, you could say, and that's the same for Hurts and all these guys. They don't have that true quarterback that can make the plays down the field. And when it's crunch time like you're talking about, you have to make plays with your arm. The quarterback that does it will be rewarded.
That's why I like Oklahoma and Baker Mayfield this time of year.
3rd down and 4. Franks hooks up with Hammond for the 1st down.
How that's not a flag, number one, is crazy. But that's a heck of a catch by Hammond. I mean, the guy's draped and pulling his arms. They got a player down, Beth.
That's Josh Sweat, number 9, the junior defensive lineman. Highly touted recruit who's overcome knee injuries over the course of his career, still wears a brace there. 4.5 sacks on the season for Josh. He and Brian Burns were able to do some major damage last year when they had DeMarcus Walker on the opposite side. Of course, Walker moving on to the NFL. For Jimbo Fisher, we also saw Trey Marshall, their defensive back, head back to the locker room earlier in the half, so they may be down a couple of starters here. Thompson Nasruldeen in at safety, and P-Ryan met by Josh Kando, the big-time freshman out of Baltimore. Right in his face and a loss of 7.
He had 4 sacks last week. He was the ACC Defensive Player of the Week. He doesn't even get to play. He comes in for an injury, and you know what he does? He makes a play on the first snap. I love this kid. The future is bright for this true freshman.
You got Kando, who was the #1 defensive end recruit last year, and also Marvin Wilson, the #1 defensive tackle recruit last year.
6'7", 250 pounds. Big, pretty defensive end, man. He is going to be a force to reckon with.
Massey into Seminole territory and down to the 41-yard line, and it's a much more manageable 3rd down after a pickup of 10. Franks 5 of 13, 51 yards in this first half and 2 picks. 119 to play with here before the break. Needs a 3rd down conversion.
Man-to-man coverage across each guy. Can a receiver get off and get open for Franks?
Derwin James coming on a blitz. He's picked up, and Franks bothered on the throw, and it's incomplete. 4th down. Josh Sweat returned to the field and put some heat on the young quarterback.
Again, there's a fake set up, but the back has to go out and protect, and Number 73, Ivy, lets the pressure come, and Florida right now is
going to go on 4th down.
Thinking about doing something here.
They'll time out and talk. 1:14 to play. Taco Bell is a proud partner of the college football playoffs. They'll be on the lookout for Taco Bell student sections and passionate fans like these at games all season long. We knew it was going to be rough today, knew it was going to be physical, and here's a look.
So we talked about it's a rivalry. It's all been clean too, Beth, which has been good within the playing field. But again, both of these teams playing hard, high effort, big hitting. I've enjoyed it.
And the lead 24-7 for Florida State here at the Swamp this afternoon. Beth Mowens, Anthony Beck, Rocky Boyman, our field analyst today. The defense coming up big for FSU. A lot of points off of turnovers.
Yeah, you're right. Just reading a lot of bit of the quarterback's eyes. They get a pass rush with the strip and then pick it up for the touchdown. For Florida, it's just been one of those years for them offensively. They haven't been able to generate anything. And they're going to go for it now, Beth, on 4th down and 6. Again, I'd say let's hit a tight end on the edge here. Maybe they can sneak one out. All the blocking they've been doing so far in this game.
Cleveland, 1st down to the 25-yard line and a gain of 15.
Cleveland, one of their biggest playmakers early on this season. Got Brandon Powell down right now. Hopefully it's just a cramp.
That's the first catch today for Tyree. Of course, best known, he was the guy on the tail end of the Hail Mary to beat Tennessee earlier this year. He's got the most receiving yards for the Gators coming in today.
And he really hasn't been utilized much the last 3-4 games, Beth. I mean, just not been a fixture. Comes wide open. Nobody home. Randy Shannon trying to get something drummed up here, going on 4th and 6. See if this puts some sparks and energy, and this will be a sorely missed player if he can't return. Hopefully Brandon Powell's going to be okay, and we'll see him back soon.
So the Gators keep the drive alive. 1:06 to go. This will be the 9th play of this drive.
Situational football, Beth. A minute to go to half. You got one timeout. Let's see if the young quarterback can work this out heading towards the red zone.
Pressure coming. They'll dump it off to Pirine. Swinging out of the backfield and close to another Florida 1st down. Got a good block from Tyree Cleveland.
Derwin James was eyeballing this from the start, but nice touch pass and good speed by Pirine to get outside to shed that block, and also, Beth, to get out of bounds.
45 seconds to go. 2nd and 1. Swain, Massey, and Cleveland. Trips right. Franks fires it right down the middle, and James almost picked it off at the goal line.
He eyeballed that right down. Derwin James was all over it. Oh, just goes right through his hands. Risky play by Franks.
Those are 2 big plays that Derwin James missed right there. The big tackle in the open field, then an interception going right through his hands. An average player, that's acceptable, but a special player like him, they expect him to come down with those.
Had a pick 6 last week. Mel Kiper has him as high as number 3 on his draft board if Derwin comes out. Franks to Massey, inside the 10, shoved out at the 6 by James. And it's 1st and goal, Florida.
It's a great catch by Massey there. He's got to adjust to the football. And again, another smart player getting to the sideline and getting out of bounds, stopping the clock.
35 seconds to go. And for Florida, Brandon Powell returns to the field. He'll be slotted left alongside Tyree Cleveland. Franks looking left, looking for Powell. Got him! Touchdown, Florida!
I'll tell you, what an effort by Powell. I think he came back in the game still a little shaken up, and he might have re-aggravated what he had hurt on a few plays before, but that is a heck of a job with concentration and tight coverage.
Dropped it over the top of Stanford Samuels on the coverage.
He's going to press it up, push off, get that lean, but look at the concentration. Make sure he comes down with it clean. There it is. He's got it, Beth.
Second touchdown catch of the season for Brandon. And Felipe Franks engineering a 12-play, 74-yard drive in the final couple of minutes of this first half.
Hopefully the senior Powell on that great effort play is able to come back at halftime and get back on this field.
Extra point is blocked. They've been good at blocking kicks all year long. And Wally Ame got it.
'94 right here. It's a good vert by him, and was that a low kick? I mean, that, again, just when you have something good go for you, Beth, you score a touchdown, something brings you down on the block kick.
6th time this year the Noles have blocked a kick or a punt. And it's 24-13. We'll kick off your Week 12 with Sunday NFL Countdown, 10 a.m. Eastern on ESPN. They'll have a behind-the-scenes look at Atlanta quarterback Matt Ryan as he went undercover to sell some items at the Falcons team store. Also, congratulations to Matt. He and his wife Sarah are expecting.
Nice.
And that will all lead into Monday Night Football. DeAndre Hopkins and the Houston Texans face Joe Flacco and the Baltimore Ravens. Coverage begins at 6 Eastern on ESPN with Monday Night Countdown served by Applebee's. Any advice from Anthony Beck to Matt Ryan, Matty Ice, when it comes to moving some product?
Go to practice early. Oh, moving product. Yeah, well, yeah. You know, I mean, listen, he's got some time to do that stuff. I mean,
and parenting. I
was thinking about parenting. I mean, I was going to say, you got to go to the facility even earlier and you come back later. That's what you do. You got a built-in excuse, Matt. That's for sure. Pushing product.
Matt's wife, an outstanding basketball player at Boston College. So if you're the Florida offense, you've scored a couple times, but you've also given FSU 14 points with the takeaways.
Yeah, turnovers have been big in this game. And again, Johnny on the spot, really. Some tip balls, some strip fumbles bouncing their way. And Blackman with a nice strike early on. Again, reading the eyes of the quarterback. Taylor with 2 picks today.
Sign that board, fellas. Let's strip and score and a pick 6. It looks like they're willing to take the lead into the locker room. They'll also be receiving the kickoff to start the second half.
Number
24-13 at the break. Stick around, though. You got Adnan Vert. You got Joey Galloway. You got Jesse Palmer. Updates from around the country, including Ohio State and Michigan tussling right now. And, of course, Auburn and Alabama coming up later. 24-13, Florida State trying to make it 5 in a row over the Gators. And now let's get you back to the studio.
Coach, defense was incredible the first half. 3 takeaways, but then you gave up that final drive there right at the end of the quarter. What happened?
Not just made plays. They hit some throws, hit a converted 4th down and took a couple tightly contested throws. They made good throws and catches. We didn't need to give that up there to keep a 3-score lead, but at the same time, offense, we need to push it in and get a touchdown down at that time we kicked the field goal. But got to regroup, get the ball, come out this half, and move the football.
Offensively, what can you do to get the run game going the way it has the last couple weeks?
Well, we got a couple nice runs the last drive. We just got to get consistent, put a hat on. we're about inches away. We're getting one guy screwing us up.
Thanks, Coach.
Blue Rivalry Series.
Welcome back to ESPN College Football, presented by Vizio as part of the Jiffy Lube Rivalry Series. Our Sunshine Showdown, Florida State leading Florida 24-13 at the break as we get set to start this third quarter. Beth Mowens, Anthony Becht. We got Rocky Boyman, our field analyst today. All right, you're a half away from beating your arch rival. What are you expecting from the Gators and the Seminoles coming up?
Well, so far we haven't seen a lot of offense, right? It's been more defense, but both of these teams, if they want to find a way to get back in this game, especially for the Gators, they got to kind of feed off of what they did in that last series right before the half. That was their best drive of the game. They converted some third downs and made some big plays at the quarterback position. I think right now, the less you can give the quarterback, give that responsibility, the better you are. You got to run the football, be effective. I still think Florida can run the football if they can make a stop here on defense and create that balance they need to have some kind of success against this Florida State defense.
A couple of young guys at quarterback, couple of freshmen. They've been through a half now of Florida State, who might be able to ratchet it up in the second half. Rocky Boyman, what you got?
Yeah, I talked to Jimbo Fisher. He was obviously very pleased with his defense that half, except for the final drive. He said, look, we had opportunities to make plays. We just didn't. And then Randy Shannon, the Florida coach, said 80% of life, guys, is showing up. He said, we've showed up. We just got to find a way to build off that momentum of that touchdown drive right before half.
Randy Shannon, the interim head coach, replacing Jim McElwain after he and the school parted ways about a month ago. Picked up his first win as the interim coach last week against UAB. Gators will not be a part of the postseason. They are trying to deny Florida State an opportunity. The Seminoles need to win today and next week against Louisiana Monroe to keep their bowl streak alive. It's 35 years in a row.
And Akers has yet to find his footing. A la what he just slipped there. It's been some minus-yard plays so far. Just hasn't gotten into the flow. Lack of rhythm for him so far in this game.
Yeah, Akers has just a little too much east-west in his game. I think you go back to Jaquez Patrick. He is a north-south runner. He gets those big paths moving downhill. I say they go back to him.
7 carries for 6 yards for Cam Akers. A short gain there. You know, Cam coming in with 2 games, possibly 3 left. He had a chance to break the freshman rushing record set by Dalvin Cook, but struggling so far today. And Rocky, here comes your call as Patrick will return.
You know, Patrick's going to be a much more efficient pass protector in this situation, and the screen game, he becomes a bit of a factor when you're talking about 3rd and long.
Need to get out to the 35 for the first down. Blackman throwing it to the outside, incomplete, intended for Keith Gavins. And the Florida Gators defense forces the 3 and out.
Well, that's what they needed. They need to get a quick 3 and out, Beth, and let's see if at halftime you're able to make adjustments and try to get 5 or 6 plays that you feel real good about and get your quarterback in a rhythm. That first half, Felipe Franks was not in a rhythm, double pumping, short passes, couldn't get with a good mesh with the receivers. Anxious to see if this young man can put it together and have a half and get his team back in this game.
Logan Tyler set to punt it away to Freddie Swain. Swain's going to let it bounce. That's a couple of times the Gators had a chance to go get a punt and didn't, and it cost them some yardage. 54 yards on the punt. Let's take a look at this blimp-worthy play brought to you by Goodyear.
Well, there's a reason why it's been tough for Florida. This defense, they start out early. Brian Burns with the strip sack. Pugh, a senior, getting a big touchdown. And again, ball goes right through the receiver's hands, bounces off a helmet of a defender, and Johnny on the spot for Florida State. And then Levante Taylor, who's got his 2nd interception of the game, reading it, and he's putting his signature twice, and it looks like his signature is consistent because those L's look very clean on both of those signatures.
FBI says they're both good. A couple of defensive TDs today. and just 2 total in the previous 33 games for the Florida State D. Mark Thompson trying to churn it out. 66 yards rushing for Florida in the first half.
It's a good win on first down. You know, even though it's just 3 yards, we've seen multiple times now where they've had minus yards on first down. You got to give your quarterback a chance. Even if you decide to run it here, Beth, get yourself another 3 yards. It makes it just a lot easier for him to make a quicker read and potentially convert on a 3rd and short.
Started the season opener against Michigan, the first redshirt freshman to do so since 1988. And then he's been in and out of the lineup. Coming back late in the season to take back the starting job after the Malik Zaire injury. And here's a hookup with Mark Thompson and a gain of 9 and a first down.
There's one area they've attacked well. It's the middle, the short passing game in the middle. We saw Cleveland early. We saw Powell over the middle for a big gain early in the first quarter. And then another angle route by the back. Maybe they can continue to find the soft spots of this defense and try to take advantage of it in this second half.
Fresh set of downs for Franks. Play action with Thompson. Under pressure, Franks being chased by Josh Sweat. And we'll throw it out of bounds.
Looks like Josh Sweat's okay after getting walked off to the field. Again, a premier pass rusher for Florida State. Started since he's been here. And again, Felipe Franks, he makes me a little nervous sometimes. He broke the tackle here. Now it's almost time to get it out of your hands and get it to the outside and out of bounds. Was lucky enough. And there's Lewis coming all the way across the top. That would have been a tough throw for him with pressure. It's frustrating for all players when your quarterback doesn't get the ball out and you feel like you're open down the field.
Franks 10 of 21, 100 yards and 2 picks today. Out into the flat. Brandon Powell with the short gainer. Derwin James chased him out. They don't have any sacks yet today, Florida State, but plenty of pressures on the young quarterback. See if they bring some heat here on 3rd and 10.
Yeah, 3rd and long. I mean, the biggest thing we've seen with Franks is not being able to make a quick decision in a passing situation. Let's find Derwin James here on 3rd down. They move him all over the place, right in the middle of this Florida State defense at the linebacker level.
Showing pressure off the edge, and then they drop back, and Franks steps right into trouble and right into the grasp of Derek Nottie. 3rd sack of the season, and it's 4th down.
This guy's definitely playing on Sundays when he chooses to do so. He is a senior, and he's been the heart and soul. He's a space eater. Number 91 right here in the middle. He's hard to block. He's strong. They got 2 guys. He just throws the the guard, Fred Johnson, out of the way. It makes a big play. And I've been seeing Franks with this little play fake to the back every time, and the back continues to go and block somebody. Forget that. You should completely eliminate that from the option and just let him go back there and pass. Something they need to switch up.
Townsend booms one. Matthews back inside his 10 and taken down immediately. Good coverage there by C.J. Henderson. Florida State with the lead here in the 3rd. Wait for it, wait for it, wait for it. There you go. That was part 1 that year. Florida State winning that one, and then the rematch for the national championship in the Sugar Bowl went to Werfel and the Gators. Florida State looking for 5 straight, never been done before. Gators looking to spoil the bowl bid hopes of the Seminoles, and the pitch to Jaquez Patrick picks up a few. Rocky.
That last drive, and then you just saw right there, Taven Bryan is becoming unblockable. They got to find a way to neutralize him. The thing about Bryan is he's so strong. As this game goes on, he just wears on you, that brute strength. If they got to double team him, they got to slide to him, they got to do something. They can't let 93 take over this game on the line of scrimmage.
500-pound bench, 800 squat. His dad's former Navy SEAL. He says his workouts are tougher at home than they are here in Gator Nation. Unbelievable.
Out of Casper, Wyoming. Came a long way to star for the Gators. Pressure on Blackman, and down he goes. Jefferson forced him into the arms of Zuniga. Third sack of the day.
CeCe Jefferson coming off the edge, the bottom of your screen, just using strength, force, getting into the quarterback. And there's his buddies cleaning it up for him. Jefferson's been a bit of a rant here the last couple drives here against Florida State, really picking up steam, starting to take this game over at the defensive line position.
3rd and 13. Movement before the snap, false start on the tight end, Ryan Izzo. Trying to plead his case.
Prior to the snap, false start, offense number 81. Half the distance to the goal, 3rd down.
Third false start penalty of the day on FSU.
Yeah, Jefferson moving around a little bit. Izzo getting a little jumpy. Tries to hide it. This guy don't lie, though. A lot of eyeballs watching movement. Don't want to make a mistake. Backed up, crowd into the game, and the defense rolling.
They'll just stick it into the belly of Patrick. Out across the 15, and it's 4th down.
That's a nice job getting it out, giving some room for their punter who has a big leg. That's 2 now. The defense is getting off the field twice in a row. This offense has to find a way to produce some offense on this drive and get them a chance. The defense is playing much too hard.
Can Florida special teams come up with something here? Or certainly they have an opportunity to work with a short field for that offense. Swain is back around midfield. Logan Tyler with his heels on the goal line. Florida will set up for a return, and Swain way back inside his own 30. Gets by the first man. Flags are down, and Swain goes down at the 45. Big time boot by Tyler of 58 yards.
And here comes the chippiness right now. We talked about it. Our count was what? 1 personal foul so far?
One each.
More flags have come out after the first penalty was thrown.
Seminoles are acting like it's on Florida.
Well, they'll tack that on if it is, and then they'll get another holding penalty. This could be.
You could lose your whole advantage here.
And this is the problem with a young quarterback now, having to go almost 80 yards instead of 55. We get that Jeopardy music ready to go. Come on, guys. Holy smokes. Here comes the other athletic guy, guys.
They've done a good job so far. Derwin James is down there at the 30-yard line. He thinks the Gators are going to be all the way back there.
Now, I'm not sure who the other personal fouls were on before, but maybe it could be potential candidate where there's 2 for the same player, which would be an ejection, right?
If it's on the same guys, yeah. That was on Erman Lane for Florida State, number 5.
And he was the one putting his hands up.
Yeah, and Duke Dawson for Florida.
So again, find out.
We have multiple fouls on the play. During the return, personal foul, unnecessary roughness, number 5 of the kicking team. That 15-yard penalty will be enforced from the end of the the end of the run. Following the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 5 of the kicking team. Unsportsmanlike conduct, number 80 of the receiving team. Those fouls will offset. That is number 80's first unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. 5 seconds. That is number 5's second unsportsmanlike conduct penalty. He is disqualified.
And there it is, Beth.
Yep.
I saw him putting his hands up saying that he wasn't him. He was telling Jimbo Fisher it wasn't on me, but apparently the referees saw differently.
Number 5.
There's 5 running down.
Wait, that looks like Jackson on the back of his. There's a couple of 5s. There's a couple of 5s.
Yeah, Jackson.
Dontavius Jackson just left.
So which one was it? This is. So Jackson didn't have a foul.
Are they saying there's both on that play? Because we saw Erman Lane shaking his finger saying, no,
right.
No, that wasn't me.
Right. Yeah, Irma Lane's number 7, so that's 2 on 5. That'll take Jackson out of the game, Beth.
So Florida now set up inside the 40-yard line of Florida State due to the fouls against the Noles. They'll run it with LaMichael Pirine. 164 yards of total offense for the Florida Gators, just 115 for Florida State, but they've been aided by 2 defensive touchdowns. That's the difference so far.
With this field position, Beth, you got to find a way to get in scoring position, even if it's just a field goal. Get the momentum back on your side after all those penalties. To come up with nothing would be terrible.
Franks finds Powell, first down to the 27. Gain of 11 yards.
It's good to see Powell back in, banged up on that touchdown catch. Looks like he's good to go, and that's about as clean as I've seen Franks get into the pocket, read it, deliver it, and put it on a place where the receiver can catch it for a nice gain. 7 targets so far, Beth. He's the guy. He's the guy Franks wants to find. And you see Powell clapping there. He wants the ball.
He'll join Cleveland to the left. Hammond motions to the right. And the give is to Pirine. May have picked up 1. 11 carries, 21 yards today.
Got some big bodies up front for Florida's offensive line. 330 pounds, 330 pounds, 330. 3 guys, 330 pounds. I'd like to see them get more between the tackles in the run game. They're bouncing a lot of stuff outside. We know one thing about Florida State. They got a tremendous amount of speed getting to those places. Try more mashing them in those running opportunities.
Empty set here for Franks on 2nd down. Franks chucks it away. Adnan's got an update. How about them dogs? They have been a fun tandem to watch. Rudolph to Washington, and a big lead for Oklahoma State. Ohio State and Michigan still tied, underway now in the 2nd half. Coming up next, Oklahoma and West Virginia. Can the Sooners stay in the playoff chase? We've got a timeout for Florida on 3rd and 9. We'll take the timeout with them. Gators trying to get right back in it. The days of Bowden and Spurrier et al. Another chapter today.
ESPN College Football, brought to you by Mercedes-Benz, the best or nothing. And Pizza Hut, the best pizza delivery deal. Order today with a large 2-topping pizza for just $7.99.
Gators trying to chomp into the deficit a bit here as we welcome you back to ESPN College Football presented by Vizio as part of the Jiffy Lube rivalry series. 24-13 Noles, but the Gators threatening. Need a third down conversion here to keep it alive.
7 targets, Beth, already in this game for Powell. He's their third down specialist. Had an opportunity to throw to him earlier. He didn't. Got to trust the route as a quarterback. Believe in what you're doing and throw the football.
Powell's the motion man. Frank's looking for him. Had him wide open across the middle and couldn't get it there. Up for grabs in the end zone. Incomplete. It was ready for the taking, Anthony.
And again, I know the pocket collapses, but you know he's in breaking, right? You see it develop. We both saw it up here. Watch him come inside, okay? The pocket's good right now. His eyes are on him. Throw the football right now. He waits. He's hesitant. Again, his head is there. Believe in it. That's his guy. That's a missed opportunity now. You got to have that if you're the quarterback.
This would be a 45-yard attempt for Eddie Pinedo, the junior from Miami, who's hit his last 15 in a row. The most accurate kicker in Florida history, and he's got it. 24-16 Noles. You're watching the SEC on ESPN. The swamp here in Gainesville, Florida, and Florida State, 24-16, a blocked PAT for Florida State, making it an 8-point game. The little lights aren't twinkling, Clark, but those two gentlemen are. That is all in for a couple of Seminole fans. Garnet and gold superheroes.
So how do you get, you like lay on the ground, just roll yourself around that stuff? I mean,
you need a good friend, don't you?
Something. There's a dinosaur. Look at this guy.
That's a gator.
Oh, it's it.
That's an inflatable gator.
It is a gator.
Through the end zone for the touch. It's time for today's Aflac trivia question. In the last 25 years, Florida State and Florida have combined to win 6 national championships, 3 apiece. That's tied for the most of any 2 teams that are playing on this rivalry weekend. Can you name the other matchup of 2 teams that have 6 titles in the last 25 years?
Seems easy. Off the top of my head. I'll let the audience think about it.
Let them ponder for a moment or two. Under 6 to go here in the third. The Florida defense got a quick 3 and out. And then they got the field goal to get some points up. And Florida State with a downfield completion to Naquan Murray, who hangs on after the hard hit. That's the second one delivered by Gardner today.
It's like these two are magnetically attached. He's going to come across the field. A lot of pressure in the face of Blackman. Delivers a strike, and right there, Gardner, big blow on Murray. I got to give a shout out to Murray. Hold on to those footballs today, taking them shots.
That's another gain of 21 yards. He also took a hard hit from Gardner on his 21-yard touchdown catch in that first half. And it's another get-together here for the officials.
I think the question is, did he catch it cleanly?
Ruling on the field, the pass hit the ground, therefore it's incomplete.
So he's got the ball right here. Does he have control of it? It's on the ground there. He picks it up. So he gets hit, hits the ground. The ball's out right there,
yep,
Beth, so.
Yep. I think that one's going to come back. So we credited Murray for hanging on. Let's credit Gardner for the hard hit.
Yeah. Again, you know, he's turning up the field.
I'd argue it's a catch, and then the ground forced it out.
Yeah, in slow motion, it looks like he may have taken at least a step and a half, and then he gets hit. I don't know there. The ball looks like it's shaky before it hits the ground. Either way, that's a huge hit by Gardner, the benefactor of that play.
So no catch, and Blackman will get it out on the edge to Patrick. The officials never came back with an announcement that the play was reversed, but that is the case. So it's third down here.
Third down pressure, Beth. Defensive line. C.C. Jefferson. Taven Bryan. Here's Jefferson right here. Bryan is right next to him. 1 for 8 on third downs, Florida State is. See if they can get one more stop.
Blackman, Bryan had him around the ankles. It's incomplete. And it's fourth down.
Are they going to get him for a
Got
low?
a flag here.
Here's Bryan at the top of your screen. He whips the guard. Now he's getting pushed down to the ground in that block, and he falls in and tackles him on the legs.
There's the flag coming in late.
I think hopefully they talk about this. I don't know if this is a below the.
Personal foul, roughing the passer. 93 defense, low hit to the quarterback. 15-yard penalty to the previous spot, automatic first down.
Yeah, I disagree with that call. It looked to me from this angle on the field that the offensive lineman had a hand in pushing him into the quarterback. Yeah, no way.
Big break here for Florida State. And the first penalty of the day on the Gators, but it gets FSU the first down. And they'll have it out at the 43-yard line. First and 10, Patrick breaking a tackle across midfield. Double digits on that run for Jaquez.
Yeah, one more look. Let's watch Bryan from the top as he's getting blocked. Okay, right now he's coming around at versus 74. He's blocking him right here, okay? Now watch the guard keep pressing him, push him in the back. Listen, to me, that's clean. I don't know. That's not a personal foul in my book. I know if you hit a quarterback below the knees, that's a personal foul. But he got pushed in that scenario because of his effort. You're going to tell me you're not going to reward the kid for his effort? That's crazy.
The injured player for Florida State is their running back. Patrick, 9 carries, 57 yards. He's been their workhorse today. The athletic trainers are out there giving him some attention right now. Jaquez Patrick off to the sideline and now on the exercise bike to try and loosen up the legs. Cam Akers will come on to replace him here on 1st and 10 as they have crossed midfield. With the 8-point lead, 4.5 to go here in the third. Blackman will keep. Dives down inside the 45. Talked about James being more comfortable, a better understanding of things over the course of the season. Now in his 10th start, replacing the injured DeAndre Francois after Francois got hurt in their season opener. Of course, they've been through a bunch of injuries. Both these teams went through Hurricane Irma that cost them a couple of games that were then rescheduled. One of them will be against Louisiana Monroe next week. Blackman's pass incomplete. We've got a studio update for you with Adnan Virk. Good updates, Adnan. Right here, Florida State, 24-16 over the Gators, and looking at a 3rd and 9.
Definitely touched him there. It's an easy call. That helps out. That's a big penalty now. You're talking about a manageable 3rd
Offside,
down.
defense number 93, 5-yard penalty, still 3rd down.
And it's Taven Bryan.
Bryant's been getting a pretty good get off throughout this game, and it's a little too early on that one, Beth. And again, now the conversion becomes a lot different. Tight end back in the game for Florida State, back on schedule with their offense.
Blackman dropped at the 28-yard line. That would have been enough for the 1st down, but Murray couldn't hang on. And it's 4th down.
Murray's been pretty good catching those bullets that Blackman's throwing. I mean, listen, Blackman's putting strikes on these intermediate routes in between the hashes. It's right off of Murray here. Lets it get into his body, Beth.
Yep, right in the
Just
numbers.
mistimes it going down to the ground and bounces right off his chest. Missed opportunity.
Punting into the short field here to Gardner, and Tyler will try and bury this one deep inside the 10. And Gardner with the fair catch at the 11. Let's revisit our Aflac trivia question.
Yep.
In the last 25 years, Florida and Florida State have combined for 6 national titles. Which other weekend matchup has that many in the last 25 years? I think we know this one. You got it?
I'll let you answer it, Beth.
Roll Tide and War Eagle,
Yeah.
Anthony. There you go.
Of course, Bama has majority of them.
Some other of the matchups: Ohio State, Michigan, 3 titles since. Iowa, Nebraska, 3 titles since. All of those for the Huskers. And of course, the other big matchup right
Following
now
the
this
play,
weekend.
dead ball, unsportsmanlike conduct on the kicking team, number 31. Unsportsmanlike conduct on the receivers, number 87. Those fouls offset. 1st down.
So that's a couple of offsetting penalties we've had. We're just tussling down the bottom of the screen and couldn't get separated.
I asked for a counter earlier in the game, Beth. We might need it. How many personal fouls is that?
I believe that's 4 Florida State, 2 Florida.
I was down here on the field, and one of the defensive coaches came and grabbed Sean Davis by the jersey and said, "You can't be doing that. You're playing too good for that kind of stuff." That's his first personal foul penalty.
That's Jimbo Fisher talking with the side judge, Bobby Moreau, by the way, who is working his last regular season game, 25 years in the Southeastern Conference.
And Jimbo's not going to make it easy for him on his last game without getting in his ear one last time. Players got to be smart here. Finish this game off.
Despite the losing records, always a big game. The Gators and the Seminoles. What guy is going to step up, put his name in the memory banks of the fans, making big plays down the stretch? Rocky?
Yeah, with all the emotion and chippiness in this game, if I'm either team, I'm trying to impose some psychological warfare. I'm trying to draw some of those penalties, maybe talk a little bit, get in their ear, talk some trash, and try to force a penalty. Something like that could be a big-time yardage gain in a close game like this.
The fiery redhead, the instigator down there on the sideline.
Psychological warfare, back.
Now, Rocky, I know in the NFL that would work, but we're talking about 18-year-old kids telling them not to hit back. That's a tough one, man. If they do that, that's pretty good.
Under 3 minutes to go in the third. Franks got away from one guy, not the next wave. Josh Sweat wrapped him up. 4th sack of the season. And Matthew Thomas is the guy that had the first shot at him.
It's been chippy all day, Beth. We talked about it. Big hits legally in the field of play. And then we've had some outside of the realm of play here on some of these hits. But across the board, both of these teams are playing very, very hard. They both want to win this game. Rivalry indeed.
And you can tell on the sidelines of both these teams, every player up and very animated. They clearly don't like the other squad.
3rd down and 9. Franks, players have caught at the 35. Brandon Powell.
Powell's been open all day, Beth. I'm just letting you know, okay? He's been open underneath, over the top. It's a sail route on the outside. Franks gets his eyes right on it now and delivers a catchable ball. He trusts the route. The corner's coming at him, but there's a nice window there. Listen, he's got to keep feeding Powell the ball. He's getting open in space, and he's the big play guy right now.
That's their longest pass play of the day. Picked up 23 yards. Franks looking for Freddie Swain over the top, incomplete. Hamza Nasruddin coming over to help out.
Deep ball's been tough for Franks this year. I did a little inside number study, and he's just a click below 20% of balls plus 20 yards. And unfortunately, that takes away from those explosive plays you're trying to get down the field. So it's been a tough year for him down the field this year, making those plays.
Going to go direct snap here to Dre Massey. Franks is the wideout to the left. And the handoff to Powell goes nowhere.
Wow. Noddy just destroys his guy and makes a huge play in the backfield. And number 91 is a big-time player. It's right here over the center. Just throws him. He's right there to make the play. Unbelievable strength and power.
And that's the one thing about the Wildcat. A true quarterback who's made that read multiple times would have seen Noddy blow that play up, pulled that ball, and kept it on the run. Obviously, being a receiver, you don't get that look many times.
3rd and 10 for Florida.
Florida State needs to find number 4 Powell on 3rd down.
Derwin James coming off one side. Incomplete pass broken up.
Powell thought he was interfered with on that crossing route. Derwin James, though, he's everywhere, folks. We talked about him in this game. He'll line up at linebacker depth. He'll line up at safety. He'll line up at the end of the line of scrimmage.
And Josh Kando came in from the other side opposite Derwin that time. Got some pressure on the quarterback. Stanford Samuels is going to get the breakup.
Hard to block them all. And Powell may have a case.
Whistles. And more pushing and shoving at the end of the play. Or just after the snap.
I don't know if I would push number 93 for the Gators too much. Especially if I'm a little guy. You know, you give him a little push and then you back off and you talk a little trash, but don't get in a push match with that guy right there.
David Bryan.
Offside, defense, 5-yard penalty, still 4th down.
That won't be enough to move the chains. Townsend on the Ray Guy watch list, averaging 48 yards per kick.
Going to the Senior Bowl with Duke Dawson, both of them invites. Opportunities to get a little post-season action for those two.
DJ Matthews back at his own 20. Matthews telling everybody to get out of the way, and it will be down by Florida at the 26-yard line after a 34-yard punt. Got an Ohio State-Michigan update now from Adnan. Well, big news at the big house there with Michigan in front. We are in the final half a minute of this third quarter in a one-score game. Cam Akers pushes his way out to the 30. 2 defensive scores and a blocked PAT looming large right now in the Seminoles' favor. And they will have the football and that advantage as we head to the fourth quarter here in Gainesville. The Sunshine Showdown. Can the Noles make it 5 in a row? You're watching the SEC on ESPN. And we welcome you back to ESPN College Football, presented by Vizio as part of the Jiffy Lube Rivalry Series. One-score game, Florida State and Florida meeting for the 62nd time in a rivalry dating back to 1958. Florida State's won 4 in a row, and they need to win to keep alive their hopes of a 41st consecutive winning season and a 36th consecutive trip to a bowl game. Gators trying to spoil that at the Swamp today, and they are in the backfield again. Taven Bryan all over Patrick.
This kid, they call him J.J. Watt. Literally, that's what they call him. Number 93 is going to work all the way over and beat his guy. And it's just brute strength. I mean, he just punishes him, plays his gap, and look who he finds. The running back throws him down. I'm telling you now, this kid is playing on Sundays, and he's going to be helping somebody at the next level.
Blackman's only hit on 1 of his last 8 pass attempts in a throwing situation here. Out of the backfield, Patrick needs to make a man miss and does. Jaquez Patrick out across the 40 for a first down.
For 235 pounds, Beth, that's an agile man making a little guy in space miss. That's a huge play, huge conversion. Chauncey Gardner, who's been applying big hits in this game, comes up short, not wrapping up and be able to bring the big man down.
Patrick, the starter for the first half of the season, then hampered by a knee injury. Cam Akers took over, but it's been Patrick carrying the mail today. Here's the pitch to Akers. He has struggled all afternoon to get into positive territory, and flags are down. Cam says it was a face mask.
Florida must have a tell on Akers here.
That might be a targeting penalty on David
Personal
Reese.
Foul, face mask, 96 defense, 15 yards from the previous spot, automatic first down.
So it was a face mask on Jefferson. Do they need to take a look at Reese? Face mask is on 96 right there. But here comes Reese at the end.
Hard to tell there.
Yeah.
I mean, his helmet hits.
Yeah.
That was prior to the whistle. The referees had plenty of time to review it up there while we're waiting.
Yeah, you can make that call from the booth. As Jefferson walks gingerly to the side. Going to be replaced here by Luke Ankrum, sophomore out of Sebring, Florida. Jefferson and Bryan have been so active today. That defensive front for the Gators, just 145 total yards of offense for Florida State. 2 of their scores courtesy of the defense. Blackman, down he goes again. Sandwiched by a couple of Gators.
What an effort. by Campbell, number 55, and number 50 Moon here. Just getting it done. It was a sandwich job. Both guys, Johnny on the spot both times. Big hit. It's a great play by Florida defense.
Loss of 9. Moon limps off to the side.
Got a little bent back, Beth, on that last tackle.
Blackman down the seam, and it's caught down to the 15-yard line. Erman Lane, the converted defensive back.
What a throw, and what a catch. Now, what do they say about DBs? They can't catch. Well, that's a heck of a job tracking that football and beating the DB off the line of scrimmage. You want to talk about a competitor, man. This Blackman kid, he's getting better, Beth. He's definitely getting better. True freshman. Every week you see a little flash of something. He's going to bring that competition. 39-yard gain, Beth, down there.
1st and 10, Seminoles into the red zone. Akers down inside the 10. Still a long ways off, but it'll be interesting next spring for James Blackman with the return of DeAndre Francois. They've also got Bailey Hockman, a true freshman who they're redshirting this year. They'll have a veteran, J.J. Cosentino. Could be some terrific depth at that quarterback spot. Kyrie Campbell, who just had a sack earlier in the drive, is the injured Gator, and we'll take a moment. Still to come today on ESPN. First at 3:45 Eastern. Number 4, Oklahoma taking on West Virginia. That comes your way from Norman. And then at 7:30, third-ranked Clemson and South Carolina in the Palmetto Bowl. Both games are also on your ESPN app if you're on the go.
Man, I would have liked to see Greer versus Mayfield in that game. Unfortunate for Greer. And good to see support. 2 quarterbacks there. Francois efforting on Blackman for his play.
Cam Akers with the cutback inside the 5. Touchdown, Florida State.
It's been quiet all day, Beth. The quiet assassin on that play. Finally, Cam Akers gets a hole and makes somebody miss. Virtually untouched to the last yard into the end zone.
Francois celebrating on the sideline. A 7-play, 74-yard drive taking up 4 minutes. And the Seminoles pad the lead. (31-16) after the Ricky Aguayo PAT.
Getting the big run by Akers, finally finding his step, getting into the end zone.
ESPN College Football is presented by Vizio, maker of award-winning 4K displays, and in part by Napa Auto Parts. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Our H Crew get together to end the regular season here in Gainesville last night. Big shout out to Allison Tim in operations. The H Crew cake, that got mangled a bit. Big Ernie Barker was our lead chef last night. The sausage, the chicken, delicious. Had a terrific time all season long. So glad that y'all could share it with us. Not done yet. 11:21 to go here in Gainesville. But first, more on Ohio State and Michigan. Adnan? from JT to JK. Can they carry that through and get to Wisconsin in the championship game next week and really make some noise?
Not to change the subject, but I apologize for ruining that cake picture. I was really hungry. I didn't get the memo. I had to get a slice before the picture was taken, so that's my bad.
From midfield down to the end zone, and the pick six coming up for Matthew Thomas into the end zone. Touchdown, Florida State. The third for the defense today.
Got a little celebration flag going on, but Beth, again, when you're playing quarterback, you cannot eyeball your receivers. It's going to lead you to a dangerous place, and Thomas comes up with a huge play for Florida State.
2 pick sixes and a strip sack that led to a score today for the FSU defense for Matthew Thomas. An interception return for a touchdown and a fumble return for a touchdown on the season for their leading tackler.
And you can't even take Franks out to give him a blow because
touchdown, following the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 6 on the return team. A 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff.
Because your wide receiver is your backup quarterback, Beth, so you're not going to let him go in there and run the offense. And again, just been a tough day for Franks today.
How about this Florida State defense? We talked to Charles Kelly the other day about the lack of turnovers forced. He said, you know, sometimes we've been in the right places to try and make plays. Sometimes they just happen all at once. Well, they've happened all at once today.
Oh, they're going to see Beth.
Does his knee go down before he crosses the goal line?
Oh, man.
No.
That's close, but wow, you better.
Boy, barely for Matthew Thomas.
You know what,
Oh,
Beth?
it
That's
does.
short.
It does.
Oh, man. Come on. Matthew Thomas. Let's get in the end zone.
Down at the half-yard line.
Unbelievable.
After review,
Anthony, how
the
many
player
times do we see
returning
that?
the interception
Right?
was down short of the goal line.
Whether it's dropping the ball before the line or going down, when will defensive players especially learn to get an opportunity to just run in the end zone?
Back to the 16.
And there is an unsportsmanlike conduct penalty that will be administered, so it's back out to the 16-yard line.
Wow.
The showboating costly for Florida State.
And Jimbo's looking for him.
And Matthew's hiding.
Somebody needs to find him. He's not happy. Again, let's see how this works out, Beth. After that big play, gets called back.
New life for the Gators here. A 28-yard pick six taken away. And then, as a result of the showboating penalty, it's a 15-yarder. This is Patrick. Stretched out by the Gator front line. Wrapped up by Gardner and a loss of 2.
I know Florida State has created a lot of turnovers today. You know, got to credit Florida's defense too, Beth. They're playing hard, trying to keep them in the game. This offense for Florida has not been able to do anything, but Florida State's defense came to play today, making huge plays, and it's been a great effort.
Patrick gets the call again, wrapped up by David Reese. 3rd down.
Haven't called out David Reese's name much. He's the team's leading tackler, 88 tackles, only a sophomore. Again, another young player with some of these corners that will all be in place next year for whoever that new coach may be. 3rd and long. Florida State got to find a way.
They're going to keep it on the ground. Patrick down inside the 10, legs turning to the 5, and he's got it.
Wow.
First down, Seminoles.
What an effort. I mean, really, what an effort. That's the second time today, Beth, we've seen this kind of effort. I mean, you think right now, you just bring this guy down, and he just keeps churning his legs, carrying defenders, and that takes the will out of a defense on a 3rd and long like that.
Those big backs late in the game, 4th quarter, they just pound away the whole game, and this late in the game, those defenders, it's so hard to tackle those guys.
Needed 14, and he got 15. 1st and goal. Patrick down to the 2. Clock continues to roll now at 9 minutes to play.
Much maligned offensive line, Beth, this year, creating holes up front for this running game when they need it. That's the biggest thing. Hasn't been pretty all day, but they've gotten some key runs and some key holes open to make some plays.
Neighbors is the fullback in front of Patrick. Jaquez tripped up in the backfield. Gets back to the line of scrimmage, and it's 3rd down.
3rd and goal at the 3.
21 of their 31 points coming off of turnovers. They're trying to add to that after the interception by Matthew Thomas. After Thomas initially had a pick 6, it was taken away because he tried to drop and roll into the end zone, and he put his knee down at the 1-yard line and then got whistled for unsportsmanlike after that. Offense trying to bail him out. And Fisher racing down the sideline to get the timeout.
First time out of the half.
Jimbo throwing his 40-yard dash speed right there to get the TO. 3rd down when we return. (31-16). Florida State with the lead over Florida. 7:39 to go, and the Seminoles working on a 3rd and goal. Blackman, play action, end zone, touchdown, Auden Tate.
What a catch. What a catch, wow.
That saves the day for Matthew Thomas somewhat.
Look at high point the ball and go up and get this. Tate is, I'll tell you, when he wants to turn it on, he can be a unbelievable wide receiver.
And Jimbo Fisher just went to from the maddest guy in the world to the happiest guy in the world, James Blackman. He let the clock go down there, had to call the timeout, but then a beautiful strike. Jimbo's happy.
2 touchdown passes today for the true freshman. James Blackman takes them on a 6-play drive, covering 16 yards off of the interception. Now 28 points off of turnovers for the Noles.
Matthew Thomas, you're good. Come out of hiding. Auden Tate saves the day with the touchdown. Blackman says, I got your back, buddy. I got your back.
Whew. The ESPN app is a fan's best friend. Stream every ESPN and ABC college football game live at home or on the go. With access to scores, news, and highlights all season long, it's the ESPN app. Download today and start streaming now. Rocky's got it. What you looking at, Rock?
Oh, yeah, I'm checking out the Ohio State-Michigan score. I also see the Fighting Jeff Brahms are playing pretty well for Purdue.
Yeah. We got an update on that Ohio State-Michigan game. Adnan? Ed, now is Dwayne Haskins the reincarnation here of Cardale Jones
right?
for
Yeah.
Ohio State?
Gotta love it. Going on the road, got to come in a hostile environment, leading the team. It's great, man. Congrats to him.
38-16, Florida State with the lead, 7.5 to go. Felipe Franks has been picked 3 times today. Incomplete, looking for Brandon Powell. What do you think is going to be the result on Tuesday of Miami's loss? A chance for Clemson and Oklahoma now to move in.
Yeah, well,
even higher.
Wisconsin, if they take care of business, they'll slide into the top 4. Clemson will be there. Oklahoma, I have Oklahoma at 2 in my top 6, and then Auburn. Auburn, Alabama obviously cleans a lot of things up too, as far as they're the ones that could disrupt this whole thing the most. Is Auburn today?
If Auburn wins, then you've got a 1-loss Alabama that would not be playing in the SEC championship game. That would be an Auburn-Georgia rematch. As we check out your picks, as they stand right now with Miami already bounced.
Yeah, Oklahoma has shown a lot to me this year. Baker Mayfield is taking care of business. Clemson, again, opportunities for them to slide in. I like Wisconsin. Ohio State, they're the ones that's kind of the sleeping giant back there. If they can pull this one off, I would say the committee would look at that as an even stronger win with a backup quarterback. And then you talk about the teams that could potentially lose. I mean, if Alabama takes care of business, that's who Ohio State should be cheering for the most. And we got Thomas down here with an injury as they check him out. But if Alabama beats Auburn and beats Georgia, guess who's sliding up? If they take care of business.
Yeah, Buckeyes are right in it. Here's what Rocky thinks right now. Bama, OU, Wisconsin, Clemson. Rock?
Yeah, I weighted Wisconsin a little bit higher than Anthony. I just think undefeated in the ways college football, we see so many upsets. Miami, of course, yesterday. To have a team, have a staff that can keep those young kids' minds focused through an entire season, I think deserves to be rewarded. I still have Miami at 6. The only thing with Ohio State, and we've all talked about this, they made the committee look foolish last year. They made a case, put them in there, and they went and they got spanked by Clemson. So you wonder if that weighs in the committee's minds a little bit if they want to put them back in.
And I don't know. I mean, Miami, to me, that's a bad loss against Pitt. I mean, there's no way to look around it. 4-7 going into that game. I mean, it's hard to say that they're still a top 6 team after that loss. And all the close games, Beth, that they had to win throughout the season.
Yeah. Franks scrambling, incomplete. Yeah, you could probably make the case, right, that the 2 ACC teams have the worst losses. The Pitt beating Miami and Syracuse beating Clemson.
And Clemson has an excuse because Kelly Bryant got knocked out of the game. So you could throw that out there. What's Miami's excuse? They don't. It's a heck of a win by Syracuse, Beth. I'm sorry. You're right. It's a heck of a win by Syracuse. I was talking too big picture there. My bad.
No, you're absolutely right.
I saw the steam.
Bryant was there for a bit, but you're absolutely
right. He was
there.
Yeah, he was there for a bit. But, listen. But look, hey, Ohio State's doing it with a backup quarterback. Got to be ready.
Yeah. Second and 10, 7 minutes to go. Franks dropped. That would have been a heck of a play by Brandon Powell, but he couldn't hold on around the 30-yard line, and it's 3rd down. Good to see, despite the rivalry, Anthony, still a lot of respect. Pat on the back of the head from some of the Seminoles. As you referenced, so many of these guys know each other, growing up together, playing against each other, related to one another, playing in turkey bowls.
You're right. I mean, it is a rivalry. I mean, when has this game not meant something nationally, Beth? I mean, every single year, this has been a huge matchup.
Gator season will be coming to a close, just their 2nd losing season in 38 years. And then the coaching search, which is already underway, will get ratcheted up a notch. Franks sacked again. Derek Nottie, that's the 5th of the day for the Seminoles. Of course, the other chatter this time of year is the Heismanology. Baker Mayfield, despite the incident last week, Mayfield is still in front About 66% of the voters say that won't affect their decision, what happened last week on the sideline, Rocky.
It wouldn't affect my decision either. I think, look, he wears his emotion on his sleeve. I get it. And I know that's maybe a part of the Heisman criteria, but the main thing is how you play. And I think he's a fiery competitor, sometimes maybe too competitive, but my Heisman vote is going to him.
Beth, I'd like to ask you and pose you a question. What do you think about Baker Mayfield?
Integrity is right there written in the mission statement. So I would consider it. Is he so far ahead of everybody else? Oh, by the way, I think Kerryon Johnson from Auburn ought to be in there, and Kerryon could have a big day today.
I don't know why he's not on there either. He's my second guy.
Here's what we've got coming up next. West Virginia and Oklahoma, and a chance to see Baker Mayfield, although he was stripped of his captaincy and his starting job for this game. We anticipate we'll see Baker pretty quickly against West Virginia. And then later tonight, Clemson, we talk about great defensive lines. That may be the best. They'll face South Carolina, who has moved into the top 25 and presents a challenge. Rocky?
I know Baker Mayfield, everyone's critical of him for his gesture, which of course is unexplainable, but is anyone going to call out Kansas for kind of a Bush League move, not shaking hands with a guy before the game at the handshake? No?
I absolutely, but that doesn't reflect on how he responds to it. I don't think. He's got to be bigger than that, right?
Yeah, I understand.
By all indications, he is out of Oklahoma, he is an amazing teammate and a good guy in the community. And that also stands for
Go out there and scorch him for 400 yards like he's been doing. I mean, that's how you get back at a team that has no respect for you. If they don't respect you, go out there and do your thing. And that's what he's been doing all year. And I know he got caught up in the emotion. Baker Mayfield's the best quarterback in the country. There's no question about it. He's the best college quarterback in the country.
I don't think it's egregious enough for him to jeopardize his Heisman. No way. Especially, I mean, he's a guy I would love to play for him on a team, right? I mean, he's a guy that's, he's showing up every week.
Is that a talent that will translate to the NFL level? That will be interesting to watch in the coming years. Florida State wants to run out the clock here, under 5 minutes to go. How about an update from Adnan Virk? Adnan, try and keep Galloway in his seat next to you there, the former Buckeye. We're trying to boost the spirits of Jesse Palmer, the former Gator quarterback. They do have some good young talent that will be coming back.
Yes.
And, of course, very anxious to see who the new head coach will be. All we know at this point is it will not be Chip Kelly, who has announced a deal with UCLA this afternoon.
I wonder how much, say the next coach that comes in likely would be more of a spread offensive guy. I wonder how Felipe Franks and the rest of this offense would respond to that kind of scheme versus this more pro-style scheme we're seeing now.
Honestly, I'm never a fan of the tempo stuff, because I always try to translate things to the next level, being a former NFL player. But with that being said, the kind of athletes, the kind of players, the kind of skilled position players that come to Florida, to me, these guys are playmakers with the ball in their hands. Yeah. So just be a guy that distributes the ball. I think it could work out fine for him. And plus, it would shrink down the thought process and the mentals of the quarterback position and help him grow a bit.
I think whatever you do as a coach, you look at your talent, you look at what they're good at, and then you build your system. You don't say, hey, here's the system, and try to fit the players to it.
Well, we got a second here. Let's take a look at today's Impact Players, brought to you by Jared, the Galleria of Jewelry. And a couple of guys who made their mark today, Brian Burns and Derwin James.
I'll tell you, Brian Burns set the tempo of this game early on, and Derwin James, again, lines up everywhere. He's got so many responsibilities. Charles Kelly, defensive coordinator, puts a lot on his plate, and he shows up week in and week out. These guys are both going to be playing on Sundays.
It's a defense that scored a couple times, could have scored a third time. They've cashed in 28 points off of turnovers today.
6'5", 225 pounds, got great length, really long arms, Beth. And he does a lot of good things, knocking the ball down, but he's also a good pass rusher, dipping underneath, getting his hands on guys, moving tackles, showing good awareness into the pocket, and making it happen Yeah, this kid is primed to be a dominant player moving forward.
And you weren't seeing much of the production from Burns early in the season. I think a lot of that was the result of there's no DeMarcus Walker on this team. Last year, teams were double teaming him, and Brian Burns was just coming off the edge. But I think he's learned more about the game, and he's also learned on how to play when you're the focus of the offense. The offense is now trying to stop you. They're going to do whatever they can. I think he's really emerged the last couple of weeks.
So 3:15 to go here for Florida. They're down a bunch. And the Seminoles are looking very much like they'll be able to keep their hopes alive, to keep the streaks moving. And how about a shout out to Jimbo Fisher and the success that he has had, arguably the best ever in this rivalry between the Seminoles and the Gators. He's looking right now to move to 7-1 in his career against Florida and a 4-0 record at the Swamp.
Been dominant, Beth. Been dominant.
And that's what the new coach of Florida will have to try and figure out. And now it sets up a very meaningful game, the rescheduled game from Hurricane Irma against Louisiana Monroe next weekend up at Doak. And they will take a 5-6 record in there. So you'll still have the possibility of extending the bowl streak to 36 years in a row. And if you can get to that bowl game, a chance to keep the streak alive and get a 41st consecutive winning season in a row. Hammond down to the 41. And look at what's happened with these two programs. 7 coaches since 1955 at Florida State. 7 in the last 13 years at Florida when you include 3 interim guys. And they're going to be searching now for their 4th coach in 9 years here at Florida. Already are. Of course, it's always nice when you're talking to prospective candidates to include those 3 national championships that they have won here under Steve Spurrier in '96 and then Urban Meyer in 2006 and 2008. Adorning the Swamp here, those significant numbers and seasons. We're just underway today. A fantastic day, rivalry weekend on the ESPN networks and around the country. Franks caught by Powell at the 20. Reminder that tonight after Clemson and South Carolina wrap things up here on ESPN, stick around for SportsCenter. Have the impact of the Iron Bowl outcome on the college football playoff race. What's the future of Kevin Sumlin? Rumblings that this might be his last game with Texas A&M tonight. And Baker Mayfield, does he have another Heisman moment later today? That's SportsCenter tonight after the football. Also streaming live on your app. Final minute. Franks to the end zone, incomplete. In what could be an historic win for Florida State in this regard. They have never won 5 straight over Florida, and they are 53 seconds away from doing just that for the first time in their history.
And they got an opportunity now with a game next week and a potential bowl bid. If they can win, that's a winning season.
Yep.
And you don't want to go out as a senior with that lingering long, was it 40 years you said?
Yeah, 40 and 35.
I mean, so these guys got something to play for, there's no question. I promise you this, both of these teams will be back in the national spotlight very soon moving forward.
Gators will run it. And out of bounds around the 5-yard line is Darius Lemons. Pickup of 12, 47 seconds to go. One of the issues for both teams all year, injuries forcing a lot of young guys to play, and a lot of those guys getting their first taste of this rivalry and valuable playing time throughout the second half of the season that they can take with them moving forward. Almost a fourth pick of the day. That was Tavares McFadden.
And you know he's sick, Beth. He had 8 picks last year. He doesn't have an interception this season. They rarely throw the ball his way this year. And he almost snags this with one hand, and he is dying to get that pick this season. Tremendous length, 6'3".
Second and goal, Florida. Franks fires to Powell, touchdown. Second TD catch for the senior in his final appearance at the Swamp.
Tight window throws in traffic, and Powell's been a guy that's been the target for Florida. And you're right, Beth. It's good to see the senior, his last game at the Swamp, take in that touchdown. Tremendous career for that senior wide receiver, Brandon Powell.
And a flag, too.
We have a touchdown following the play, unsportsmanlike conduct, number 4 of the offense. A 15-yard penalty will be enforced on the kickoff. That's number 4's first unsportsmanlike conduct penalty of the game.
Going to be a taunting foul on Powell for handing the defender the ball. Pinedo's extra point. They're going to fake it. And they're not going to make it. The holder and punter, Johnny Townsend, hauled down. Of course, this time of year, we're always talking about the coaching carousel and all the changes. Ole Miss looking for a new head coach to replace Hugh Freeze. Jim McElwain ousted in late October here at Florida. Tennessee made the move on Butch Jones in mid-November. Jim Mora last Sunday. And then yesterday, post-game, Brett Bielema at Arkansas. And earlier today, Mike Riley fired at Nebraska, and UCLA announcing the hiring of Jim Mora.
It's a lot of SEC coaches, Beth.
Yeah.
They all can't get Nick Saban because he's taken, right? So who's that guy going to be? And Scott Frost can't coach all these teams. Chip Kelly's gone. I'd say this. There's some good coaches out there across the country. I know we like to throw around favorable names that everybody knows.
Yeah.
But let's do ourselves justice as universities and organizations and administrations to go make sure we're thoroughly looking at all coaches that are available out there and give everybody a fair chance to state their case to be their guy.
I still think the best job for Scott Frost is right here in Florida. If he's 42 years old. If he were 62, okay, you go to Nebraska and you go back to where you played and stuff. But if you want to win championships, which is what young coaches want to do, you look at the programs that have the talent and, again, are used to winning titles like that. I think it's right here in Florida. I think that's what he should do.
Put dinner on it, Rocky?
Ooh. I'll put dinner on it.
All right, there we go. The nation's heard it. I'm going to put a little day. We'll steak dinner.
Probably going to get a hard sell from
when are you going to win at Nebraska anytime soon?
I get it. I get it. There's going to be a lot of outside forces with that one. I mean, it'd be tough for Scott. I mean, look, he's got a lot of ties with that school. National championship. I mean, it's just, you feel like, and I think that's who the fan base want, right, Beth? I mean, they're probably wanting him to come back. And
no doubt.
I don't know if they're going to get smash mouth football because he's kind of changed his mentality a little bit. And that's what they want as a fan base, too. So
wild card there is Mike Leach, of course. Bill Moose is the new AD, and he's the guy that hired Leach at Washington State. They're playing in the Apple Cup tonight.
By the kicking team, 5-yard penalty be tacked on from where the ball went out of bounds. First down.
Charles Barkley on game day today said that was his second favorite coach behind Gus Malzahn.
Yeah.
The highly entertaining Mike Leach.
Yeah. They would have a good conversation, those two guys.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
That's for sure.
Yeah.
The thing about Nebraska, too, is it's such a hard place to recruit. I mean, right here in Florida, you got just a bevy of talent within a tank of gas. Out there, it's a much, much different situation.
I like my steak medium well, Rocky.
Stay tuned. We'll have the result for you during bowl season.
You're making credible points. There's no question. You are making some solid points. Again, I just think
if you're young, you want to win titles. You want to put your name among the Urban Meyers and Nick Sabans of the world. I don't see it happening at Nebraska, at least not in the next 3-4 years.
It's been a real treat, guys. We've enjoyed the regular season with the H crew, and we hope you have had a good time with us all year long. Jimbo Fisher and Florida State winning their 5th in a row over Florida for the first time in Seminole football history. 38-22, the final, with 28 points off of turnovers and a couple of scores for the defense. As Jimbo goes to 4-0 here at the Swamp. And a hug for Randy Shannon, who is still one of the top defensive minds in the game, and the coaching staff here sure to land in some good spots. He and Doug Nussmeier, the offensive coordinator. Down to the field, here's Rocky.
Coach. Well, just shaking hands with some guys here real quick. Coach, you should get the Gatorade bath. What happened?
Oh, Lord, I got an ice bath. I know that was for a good reason, but man, they were cold.
It's been a tumultuous season for you. Injuries, hurricanes. You come in here, you get a win in a rivalry game. How's this feel?
It's huge. I mean, the people at Florida State and what this game means to them, and be able to come down here and play in such a great environment, a tough atmosphere, and for our kids to persevere and just keep playing for something. A lot of pride in these kids, and very happy for our fans and alumni.
You have one more game. Tell us why the future is bright for this Florida State program.
Well, just look, there's so many young players on this football team. There's so much effort, ability, and there's so much character. You know, this team has never quit the whole year, and there's a lot out there to play for, and it will be in the future.
Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
One more to go against Louisiana Monroe next weekend for the Seminoles. Coming up next, West Virginia and Oklahoma. But right now, let's get you back to the studio. Adnan, Joey, and Jesse.